Hi everyone, and welcome to part 3 of the subject public transportation here in Korea. Last class we were discussing about the bus, and today we will discuss about the subway and the train system here in Korea. Let's start. So first we have the subway system, and the subway is mainly used in the city or for short distances. The subway lines are divided by color and numbers, and this is for easy navigation. And of course, each station's name. So this is, for example, Seoul subway, and it's the most complicated subway in Korea out of all the cities. So if you see Seoul subway have more than 10 lines, and each line have different number, 1 or 4, this one is 6, and different color. As we mentioned, stations have their own name, but they also have their own numbers, just to help and find it quickly. In Korea system, different lines or different line numbers operate by different companies, and sometimes between companies there will be some adjustment fees if you are using the transportation card. Operating time for the subway is very similar to buses, so it's generally between 5 in the morning to 12 a.m. or 12:30 a.m. And in rush hour you have more subway train coming more often. The subway is working usually in intervals of 5 to 15 minutes. So this is the time that you can benchmark. So if you missed one subway, don't worry, soon there will be another coming. During the rush hour, the subway is very, very crowded and people can push you, and people are really eager to get in the subway. So this is kind of just a heads up for you guys to know. If you can avoid the rush hour, avoid it. If not, just be aware that this is the situation. So you can take a look at the subway fees, and again, this is for a situation that you have a transportation card. So again, there are extra fees for longer distances. For every 10 kilometers, you will add 101 more. And between cities, so let's say between Seoul and Gyeonggi-do, you can have additional fees as well. And here are the possible fees for adjustment that I mentioned before. So there are a couple of subway specifics here in Korea that I would like to let you know. First is allocated seats for either pregnant women or elderly, and it's part of the subway etiquette, and it looks like this. So this is a special seat for pregnant women, and for elderly people there will be seats at the end of the subway, and you can see that they have specific allocation. So when you see this sign, it's for elderly or disabled people or sick people. And please make sure you're giving them their seat and not sitting in those kind of seats. Another thing that I would like to mention is that if you're in a hurry, you can use the left side of the escalators, as the left side is for faster movement. Another thing that happens a lot, especially for non-Koreans, is getting lost. So if you're changing lines or taking a different direction, make sure the direction that you're going and read to which direction the subway line is going, so you will not get lost or you will not confuse with the direction. Just to help people, there is music played in the first and last stop. Also, there is a different music played in stops that you can transfer to other lines. So if you hear music, you know it's either your first or last stop, or this is a possibility to transfer a line, so you can be alert. Be aware to different gates. There are some stations that you have to go out the gate to take the other direction, or some stations that you don't have to leave the gate in order to change direction. So if you're stuck or if you have any problem, just ring the bell near the gate. Don't go out yet. Someone either come to help you or talk to you over the phone. If you can only communicate in English, just say English and usually they will come. The next point is very unique to Korea subway, and there are times you will see people selling things. They're selling some goods on the subway, and they're gonna have a pitch and they will talk very loudly, and they will try to sell those things, whatever it is, gloves or umbrellas or whatever it is, to people who sit on the train. This is not a legal action, but it's very common and people used to it and do it all the time. So it's on your own responsibility. If you want to buy something, which can happen, it's only in cash. Another thing is that Korea, the subway is still relatively quiet and people are not talking really loudly. So a lot of the times if people do talk loudly, they get a lot of stares. A lot of the time elder people, they are rushing to get into the train and get a seat, so they are pushing. I just want everyone to be aware that this happens. Don't be too offended or don't take it too seriously. And lastly, in some places you will see glass doors or gates before the track. It's not everywhere, but it does exist. This was a preventing measure for people to either jump or from people who are pushing. So just be careful of those gates as well. This is it for the subway in Korea. And in the next part, we will talk more about the train between cities. I'll see you in the next part.